Every sport has its moment. The one night where the best don't just show up, they rise up. This is the Breeders' Crown. A season of sweat, speed, and sacrifice all leading here. From the barns to the paddock, from the first stride of spring to the final stretch of fall, every mile has built to this one.
Crowning moment on Canadian soil for Bulldog Hanover.
The fastest trotters, the fiercest pacers, the greatest names in harness racing, all chasing one thing: immortality. Because in this sport, nothing is given, everything is earned. Tonight, history is made again. And for the 42nd year in a row, we get to say, in harness racing, it all comes down to the Breeders' Crown.
It all comes down to the Breeders' Crown, and it's time for night number 1 of the 2025 championships from right here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. You're looking live at Campbellville, Ontario, as we're set tonight for 4 Breeders' Crown events, all featuring the freshmen. The 2-year-olds will take center stage. It is a cool October evening, but the track is fast and we are dry. And welcome into the desk just outside the paddock. My name is Mark McKelvey, alongside my usual Primetime Racing co-pilot Greg Blanchard. But Greg, we've got another special guest joining us here tonight. It's a Breeders' Crown weekend. It's a big weekend. We got to bring in the big guns.
Yeah, absolutely. A gentleman who has a tremendous record in the Breeders' Crown over the course of his career. 8-time winner, Paul McDonnell, and Paul, percentage-wise, one of the best ever. How special was Breeders' Crown night to you back when you were, driving on a regular basis?
Well, I think it was everything, mostly because, your horses had to be kept fresh throughout the whole season. And I think that was one attribute that we tried to do, and keep the horses fresh as we could to get to the Breeders' Crown. So that was one main thing we strived for.
And Mark, when Paul was winning a lot of those crowns, it was in the, sunny confines of Pompano Park in Florida a few times. So a little bit different here, but still a nice weekend weather-wise.
Yeah, and we're in the single digits. It's cool. It's October. Last weekend for the eliminations, though, I think the high was 21 last Saturday. It was picture perfect, but it's dry, and that is the main thing. I would have to think, Paul, as long as it's dry out there, it's a level playing field.
Yeah, it makes it easier for everyone. I mean, the horses enjoy it more when it's clear and the track is good, and the drivers, of course, they get good vision and can see the race better. So it's better all around this way.
Well, I can tell you, folks, you might be tuning in thinking, oh, those guys are going to freeze all night. We got a couple of heaters here. I don't know about you guys, but I can feel one beating down on me. It feels pretty good. So we'll be comfortable out here tonight and tomorrow, as it's the 2025 Breeders' Crown here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. There's one other member of our broadcast team to introduce. She'll be in the paddock catching up with the various contenders. Let's say hello to Jamie McDonald.
Thanks, guys. Like you said, Paul McDonnell needs no introduction, and neither does Bojangles. Let's rewind to 2007, where Paul and Some Beach Somewhere went a perfect 6 for 6 on the season, but they didn't race in the Breeders' Crown at 2. Fast forward to now, his grandson, Bojangles, is looking to double that and go 12 for 12 on the season tonight. We caught up with Dr. Ian Moore earlier this week, but not at his farm, up in his plane. We're excited to bring you that footage and talk all about what's on tap for tonight with Dr. Ian Moore. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Yeah, there's lots to cover tonight. Looking forward to that. I didn't take to the skies. You did, Jamie. So, you're standing here, so obviously everything went well. Looking forward to catching up with that feature in just a little bit. But, gentlemen, with the Breeders' Crown back at Woodbine Mohawk Park, let's take a look at the various host venues and how many Breeders' Crown races have been held at each track. Now, you'll see the Meadowlands leads the way, but when you combine Mohawk and Woodbine, Woodbine Entertainment, as a racetrack operator, has hosted more Breeders' Crown events than anyone else, and it's back for the first time since 2022. And Paul, as a local reinsman here, it always had to be special when the Breeders' Crown was in your backyard.
Oh, 100%. It was easier on the horses, it was easier on the people, no travel. It just great venues, both places, Mohawk, Woodbine, great tracks, 7/8s, and yeah, we loved having them here.
And I will say this, Greg, though, we were last year at the Meadowlands. A couple years ago, we went to Hoosier Park. Doesn't matter where the Breeders' Crown goes. You get that energy, you get that excitement.
Yeah, I mean, in the early days, it moved individual events, went to tracks all over North America. That shifted a bit in recent years, less host tracks. And I think good news, we should give a shout out to some tracks that are going to be taking on the Breeders' Crown in coming years. Scioto Downs for the first time next year, and then in 2 years' time, the Red Mile in Lexington. So, it just speaks to the longevity and how special the Breeders' Crown program has been and continues to be.
Absolutely, and the folks from Scioto Downs are here this weekend checking things out as they start the planning and preparation for hosting a year from now. But it's time to turn our focus to the 4 races that we've got coming your way this evening, and the first of which is going to be the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly trot. It comes no surprise if you're new or old to harness racing, you know how this sport is rooted in families, and there's a couple of families that have deep ties to the local racing scene that are going to be represented in this event, and we caught up with them, the Joneses and the Baxes.
I'm Dustin Jones.
And I'm Tyler Jones, and we're racing Bingo Night in the 2-year-old filly trot Breeders' Crown.
My name is Matt Bax, and I have Storybook Love in the Breeders' Crown.
COVID happened, and everything changed. And then there was an opportunity that I saw, and I approached my dad about coming into the business full-time and becoming a catch driver and driving for him. And we talked to his partners, and he said, let's go, let's do it.
It's great. It's something I've been hoping to do, and Tyler went in a different path, and when he decided to get back in, it was really, it made it a lot more interesting for me to continue working with the horses.
You know what, you would think that, and you hear stories of other people and they clash a little bit, but my father and I, we have a great relationship where he's been really great as a mentor, where he's allowing me to extend my wings, and yeah, I'm able to kind of run with my ideas for the last couple of years and really work as a team instead of just one person's the boss, one's the alpha and the other one's going along. So I feel like that's really benefited the horses as well.
It's definitely a challenge because he's not only my biggest critic, but my biggest fan. And he gives me a lot of opportunities, which I appreciate a lot. And some opportunities that I definitely wouldn't get if it wasn't for him.
It's Bingo Night with a 2.5 length jump. Cupid Hall closing fast, but Bingo Night will get Jones a crowning moment here in the Gold Super Final.
Storybook Love, she's been great the last half of the year. She's gone through her bumps early on, but right after the New York Sire Stake Final, we knew the Big Apple at Vernon was on the horizon, and she was sound and healthy. And she went in there, won the elimination, and put in a great effort in the final. And yeah, she put an even better effort in the elimination final for the Breeders' Crown. So we're really hopeful and thankful that she's at the top of her game at the right time.
Having a homebred in the Breeders' Crown is quite an accomplishment. And we bought the grandmother from Tara Hills, and we bred her mother, and she didn't race, and now that's her first foal. So it's the 3rd generation that we've owned.
When there's money on the line, you got to go. And winning the Breeders' Crown elim is huge because you get to draw good. We finished 3rd, and we got extremely lucky that we drew the 6th hole, which is the winningest post at Mohawk.
Yeah, getting one to the final of the Breeders' Crown is not easy, and it's not something everybody gets to have. So having one in the final is definitely special.
Well, great to catch up with Matt Bax along with Dustin and Tyler Jones. A big night for those families, and families you're very well familiar with, Paul, including the Bax family you had so much success with. What's it like as you go along in your journey in this sport to kind of see the reins having been passed from John to Matt?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. John and I, we obviously went back a long way. And Matt's come onto the scene in the last few years and stepped right up, and look what he's doing. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's getting these horses ready for big races and doing one heck of a job.
They'll be represented by Storybook Love. Todd Ratchford will make his Breeders' Crown debut. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Tyler Jones sitting behind Bingo Knight. They're side by side there in the paddock. Bingo Knight, Greg, has had a big-time season, and Paul talked about how you need to keep a horse fresh throughout the year. This is one that's gone some big miles through the middle of the summer now into the fall.
Yeah, and it looked like she was maybe tailing off a little bit, but then comes back and wins the Ontario Sire Stakes Super Final, and I thought a rock-solid third in the Breeders' Crown elimination, hard used. So looks like she's coming in top form, and I think a legitimate contender.
Won the Super Final 2-back, third in her elim. Meanwhile, Storybook Love, returning from New York, picked up a big-time victory in her elimination. They'll be numbers 5 and 6. The Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly trot is coming up when we return on Primetime.
Shine Delight, Shea Xander has floated out 3 wide there and coming on. 1:25.1, the 3/4 time, and they're at the top of the stretch. That's All Money is digging in on the inside. Sunshine Delight is right at her throat on the outside. Shea Xander is racing third. Here comes Ariana G, is kicking late for Gingras on the outside. Shea Xander and Ariana G are coming. Ariana G is getting up on the outside. Shea Xander and Sunshine Delight. Princess Aurora on the far outside. Ariana G wins the Breeders' Crown. Princess Aurora second, then Sunshine Delight and Shea Xander in 1:53 and 4.
Well, the Breeders' Crown does crown champions, and that was a look back at the 2016 Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly trot, won by Ariana G. That race took place at the Meadowlands here tonight. We're live from Woodbine Mohawk Park. Good look there at the flags. They're not moving a whole lot. We talked about it being a bit on the cool side, but again, it's dry and not much for windy conditions, and we're almost set to meet the horses for our first of 4 Breeders' Crown races. Welcoming you back inside the paddock as I can hear the paddock judge giving the call, letting everyone know they'll be heading out to the track in just a moment. Here's a look at the odds board right now for this Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly trot. Current even money favorite is the number 2, Nezuko Kamado, for trainer Marcus Melander. He is so well represented throughout the course of tonight's races and tomorrow's, and this is one of his best chances. Let's take a look at how we got to this Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly trot final as we take a peek back at last week's elimination. Then we start the first elim, Storybook Love. This is a horse for the back stable, Paul, that made a trip to New York, raced really well at Vernon, finishing second, but had to come back on 6 days rest. Obviously, it didn't bother her at all, but from your point of view, could that have been a concern?
I guess it could have been. She did have to ship, I guess it's probably about 5 hours down to Vernon one way. So knowing the Baxes, though, they keep their horses fresh. They have the farm right just locally here, and it's probably about a 5-minute drive. So that helps when you were shipping here to Mohawk. So she was very fresh finishing there, as you could see.
That's what I was going to say. A good kick coming home here, Greg, to pull off the big upset and a big thrill for driver Todd Ratchford.
Yeah, and a confident steer from Todd. I was impressed with what I saw, so I think it serves him well for tonight. He got that taste of winning at this level, and tonight should come in with a little bit of confidence, and I don't think he's going to shy away from the big moment.
Scott Zeron never shies away from the big moment, and the steer he ends up giving Nezuko Kamado is going to be a winning one, but they have to come from 8th at the head of the lane here. The one thing, Paul, about this stretch, it's quite long, but it doesn't mean you can always close up.
That's true. I mean, the fractions are so important in these races, and they were racing pretty hard to the half, and it took its toll on the leaders. And, of course, Scotty was right in the perfect position and just showed his filly some fresh air, and away she went.
She gets up to reach in 153-1. You'll see in the midst of that mix coming towards the wire is Bingo Knight, who ultimately was 3rd, but it was a almost 2-length score for Nezuko Kamado, and right now is your even money choice heading into the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly trot final. This is one of those races here tonight, Greg, that I think is maybe more on the competitive side in terms of many options that could get the job done when we get into that 2-year-old filly pace. It looks like there's a standout. You got the likes of Bojangles, but with the trotting fillies, you just never know.
Yeah, you do, and you've got so many great connections here. We heard from the locals, Bax and Jones, but you've got Oka Svanstedt here who's been absolutely dominant. He's won the last 3 editions of this Breeders' Crown division, kind of taken over the reins, if you will, Paul, from Jimmy Takter. We saw Ariana G win there from back in 2016. That was in the midst of a 5- and 6-year run for Jimmy Takter, and now it's Oka Svanstedt. So, they're tough to beat.
Yeah, they are. They're complete horsemen. They bring their horses ready to race every week. So, yeah, he'll be a contender in here for sure.
Let's meet the field for the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly trot. We start with number 1, Lainey W. She's a daughter of bar hopping, finished 2nd to Nezuko Kamado in her limb last week. Brittany Farms, Marvin and Lynn Katz share ownership. Marcus Melander trains, and Yannick Gingras will do the driving. He drove her last week in the limb and comes right back here in the final.
The money man Scott Zeron will handle Nezuko Kamado, who was an elimination winner a week ago. She's rattled off 4 straight, this daughter of Chapter 7, and the second entrant from the Marcus Melander barn.
Number 3 is Southwind Chaska, Tim Tetrick for trainer Jim Oscarson, who returns to the Breeders' Crown scene. And this is a horse that had been on a nice run up until her elimination, where she got involved up in the front and ended up fading back to 5th, but she was on a 3-race win streak going in.
Ron Burke won this division back in 2014 with Mission Brief and a stakes record of 151-4. His hopes this year pinned on the Captain Corey filly from post 4 Atlantic Summer for Ronnie Wren Jr.
Here's a look at a limb winner Storybook Love, the number 5, Todd Ratchford, driving for trainer Matt Bax. Al Libfeld and Brad Grant share ownership. She won in 153-2 last week in her limb. 3 for 11 on the season. She's a daughter of Chapter 7.
The Ontario champion is Bingo Knight, 3rd in her elimination. She'll be sent out by the father-son team of trainer Dustin Jones and driver Tyler Jones. She's won 5 of 11 this year, $414,000 in the bank.
Greg mentioned the recent success in this division for trainer-driver Oka Svanstedt. He'll send out Sparks here looking for an upset. She was 4th in her elimination last week. Overall, she's got a pair of victories, including taking a division of the Bluegrass Stakes at Grand Circuit Contest at the Red Mile in Lexington, Kentucky back on September 26th. 4th in her limb, clocked in 154, but you can never count them out. We'll see if Sparks can light up the tote board here in the Breeders' Crown final.
Oka Svanstedt is looking for a 4th consecutive win in this division. He drove back-to-back years in 2022, Special Way, 2023, Warwi Michelle, and James McDonald guided his Lady Landia to victory last year. Oka on board number 7, Sparks, one of 3 entrants for him in the field.
There's a look at number 8, Wish Upon a Star Deo, Tyler Borth for trainer Susie Kerwood. 4th in her elimination, but she had a good final quarter of 27-1 as she passed several rivals to punch her ticket to the final. 3 wins overall on the season.
Another from the Marcus Melander stable, runner-up in her Breeders' Crown elimination, is Set Your Sights High. Dexter Dunn on board this filly. 7 wins, no worse than second in all 10 starts this season. $717,000 banked.
And the last horse we'll meet for this Breeders' Crown final will be the outside starter, number 10, R. Rowe. Jody Jameson driving for trainer John Bootenshane, who seems to show up each and every year with one of these fillies. And here was a third-place finisher in her elim, 2 for 10 on the season. So that's the field of 10 for the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly trot final. They're going for over $950,000 Canadian. And there's a look at the current favorite, number 2, Nezuko Kamado. One of several coming from the barn of Marcus Melander over the course of tonight and this weekend, and Jamie caught up with him.
Marcus Melander joins us now just ahead of race 6. Starting on the trot tonight, it's a busy night, so we thank you for your time. 3 in this race here for your 2-year-old fillies. Leaving from post 1, Laney W., post 2, Nezuko Commando S, and post 9, Set Your Sights High. So just in general, all 3 of them obviously have very different paths racing this season. So how did that come about, and how do you manage where they're going?
They were all by different sire, first of all. So Laney W., we actually brought her to Kentucky. All 3 of them were Kentucky eligible, but Laney W. raced in the middle class in Kentucky, and Set Your Sights High was also Kentucky, but we raced her in the highest division and also in the Ohio Sire Stakes. And Nezuko Kamado, we kind of stayed in New York with her. So they haven't really raced against each other.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting how they all work out today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they had a great season, all of them, so I can't be disappointed either way how it goes tonight. They have a great season.
Coming out of the eliminations last week and how they're coming into the final this week, just give us a rough overview on each of them and how your fillies have been.
We just had a slow week. They jogged Monday, trained a little bit light on Tuesday, just paddocking Wednesday, and then Thursday just jog a little bit before coming here to detention. So they had a pretty slow week. And
you stayed up in Canada, which not everybody does. What was that type of decision making on your end?
I think it's, okay, it's not that warm as it is in the summertime when we're shipping, but, it's still a ship on 9-10 hours, back and forth. And especially like a horse like Nezuko Kamado, she was racing 6 days before the elimination up at Vernon, which is also another 5.5 hours. So it's been a lot of shipping on these horses. And, we've been at McNair's farm, which we always are when we're here, and they take very good care of us. They had a good track, good paddocks, and everything. So the horse seems to like it there.
Thank you for joining us here tonight, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Good to hear from Marcus Melander. Some good information there, trying to get to the winner's circle. Sometimes in these spots, I find, Greg, that you have a horse that looks like the standout from the barn, but sometimes it's the other one that can step up and get the job done. Maybe you just find yourself kind of sleeping on the stablemates.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to have strength in numbers, and that's what Marcus does here. And we've seen that a lot. We've seen him go into the Hamiltonian, the Maple Leaf Trot here with these powerful 2- and 3-horse entries, and same case scenario here, and they're all quality. So you're right. Maybe the favorite gets caught up in some kind of a speed duel, and one of the stablemates can pick up the pieces. You've got the Dexter Dunn factor here on the 9. Paul, maybe I'll ask you. You've been around this game a long time. You've had an illustrious career. Drove against the greats of the sport. Where do you rank Dexter Dunn? What he's done since he moved to North America has been pretty phenomenal.
It certainly has. He's just been, pretty much dominant the last few years. Always has a horse in the right position. Always seems to know where the pace is going, fast or slow. And, he's definitely a difference maker.
Speaking of drivers, this is a big moment for Todd Ratchford, a young man you know very well. It's his Breeders' Crown debut. Do you remember your Breeders' Crown debut?
I do.
You do.
Yeah, I do, and I'm sure Todd's feeling a few rumblings in his stomach right now, but once the race gets going, once the gate gets started, and it'll be all business for him.
Hope we can get a look at that.
I know.
One later
we might
on.
get a peek at it.
Yeah, we'll pull that one out of the vault, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, Todd's got a big opportunity here as he's going to try and bat 1,000, so to speak, if he can get the job done. 6-1 right now with Storybook Love. There's a look at a little bit of the facts and figures for this Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly trot division as Yannick Gingras tries to surpass John Campbell for the most wins in this category, and he drives the number 1 Laney W for Marcus Melander, and that's kind of what I was hinting at. Here's a horse that you wouldn't be shocked if it stepped up and won, but kind of in the shadow of that stablemate. So as they get called in here, one thing I want to ask you here, Paul, is just a little bit of that strategy in some of these stakes finals. For those limb winners, they usually get a pretty good post position. For those on the outside of the gate, especially with these young trotters, I'm assuming you want to get into play, but you got to be careful.
Yeah, you do. You can find yourself in a bad spot quickly. So, these drivers are the best for a reason. They're here. They know the horses, and most of them don't make too many bad moves.
All right, Greg, you got a pick here?
I do. I'm going to stick with Storybook Love. I'm going to give her some love. I like the way she rallied last time out and showed really good speed on the end of it. A little bit faster on the end than the other elimination, so hopefully lightning can strike twice.
All right, it's the first of 12 Breeders' Crown finals this weekend here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. The 2-year-old trotting fillies are lining up, a full field of 10. We'll toss things up to track announcer Chad Rosema. He has the call.
Setting off for the early speed. Set your sights high. It's got a tough draw. Was picked off late. She's getting play at 2-1 and 5-1 in Storybook Love. Upset winner in the other limb last week. Field of 10, 2-year-old trotting fillies for the first Breeders' Crown final are lined up, and here they come. And they're off. And the 2025 Breeders' Crown Championships are underway. And the fillies are away and trotting. And Swanstek quickly with Sparks. Jets right for the front. And it is Sparks to lead it with Storybook Love in the 2-hole. Outside is Bingo Night parked. Diving to the inside fourth is Wish Upon a Star. Deo, set your sights high. Parked out in fifth for Dunn. Then Laney W, Nezuko Kamado in some traffic. Then Southwind Chaska. It's back to Atlantic Summer. And Arrow is at the back. It's Bingo Night and Tyler Jones to lead them past an opening quarter of 27-4. And into the backstretch they go with Set Your Sights High. Parked and driving forward here for Dunn after leader Bingo Night. Sparks is in behind third. On the outside, Nezuko Kamado also parked. Dunn looks over his shoulder. Set your sights high, trying to get to the front. Leads it there with Nezuko Kamado continuing to forge ahead. Bingo Night now trots third in front of Sparks fourth. In fifth, it's Storybook Love. Locked to the inside with Southwind Chaska to the outside sixth. 55-1. The fillies were down to the half. Atlantic Summer working with cover. To the inside is Wish Upon a Star Dale. Third over's our road trailer Laney W. Nezuko, Kamado, and Scott Zeron stretch the lead to 2.5 as they head to the last turn with Set Your Sights High in second. Bingo Night is third. Southwind Chaska getting closer on the outside fourth. Locked up fifth is Sparks. Atlantic Summer up to sixth. Then Storybook Love looking for a way through. Our row, Laney W swinging wide from the back. 123 and 1 3/4. And Nezuko Kamado turns for home as a lead of 2 right now and Set Your Sights High. Dunn's calling on her for everything she's got. She starts to close from the pocket. Bingo Night, Storybook Love dives to the inside. Atlantic Summer in the center of the track. Nezuko Kamado, Storybook Love up the inside for Todd Radford and Matt Bax in their Breeders' Crown debuts. Storybook Love is a winner by a length and a half in 152-2. What a finish! Storybook Love takes the Breeders' Crown.
An incredible moment for Todd Ratchford as he wins his Breeders' Crown debut. A patient steer waiting for room in the lane, and it develops up the inside. Storybook Love wins the Breeders' Crown 152-2. What a moment there. What a thrill. There's only one person at our desk that can talk about a thrill like that, and that's Paul McDonnell. Paul, what's he feeling right now?
I can imagine what he's feeling. I mean, he's probably just jubilant right now, and he probably can't even believe it happened. And, I'm probably sure he wasn't very happy with his drive at the 3/4 pole, but I mean, things opened up for him, and here he is, a Breeders' Crown champion.
And again, it was a good final quarter coming here from Storybook Love, and it was just a case of whether or not, Greg, that room was going to be there.
Yeah, exactly. You could tell turning for home, she was live and doing some stick handling, and what a talented filly, right? Showed speed off the gate, had to weave through traffic late, stop and start her, then dive to the inside. And, Paul, maybe you could speak to this. Trying to pass horses on the inside isn't something that horses naturally want to do, but this one did willingly.
Yeah, that's her strong point. She's always seemed to be trotting hard at the wire, and she got the trip like she didn't have to use up much for 7/8 of a mile, really. So when he did find room, she was very willing to go through there.
A change of strategy here tonight from Nezuko Kamado. You knew Scott Zeron wasn't going to be counting on a hot pace and this coming from the clouds like he did last week. He sent this one forward here, and a different journey, Greg, and it ends up not panning out this time, but a third-place finish, certainly respectable in the Breeders' Crown.
Yeah, for sure. And, for Todd, I thought there was a key moment in the race there. Down the backstretch, it looked like he had an opportunity to maybe come out into the flow fifth. Yeah. But if he did there, it was going to be a long kind of uncovered trip, and he took the gamble and stayed to the inside. But, Paul, that's got to be just a split-second decision, and he, like you said, he probably was wondering, turning for home, if it was the right one.
Yes, that's for sure. I mean, I agree with you. He would have been first over a long way, and probably the result would have been very bad. But he was patient. He did his thing, and he let the filly do her thing down the laneway.
All right, we're going to get to a post-race interview in just a second. Looks like our friends over at Fox Sports are going to catch up with Todd Ratchford. We'll join in on that chat once we get the cue. Looks like Jenna Otten standing by. And we're not getting it there right now, but we will make sure we catch up with Todd Ratchford in just a little bit. And you've been put on the spot for some of these post-race interviews. I guess it's good you're getting interviewed because it means you won, but you never know. Probably don't even know what you're saying.
Yeah, you don't even really have time to gather your thoughts, and you get a microphone right in your face. But anyway, I'm sure it's not bothering him one bit right now.
All right, we'll have most reaction in the winner's circle when we come back. Storybook Love, Todd Ratchford win the Breeders' Crown.
Put to Whip Urging. Real Babe is 3 wide. Then it's Circles, Talbot Creek, Jewelry, and Aunt Mel. 126 and 4. Well rated by Pierce's Check Me Out. And she is striding away. Check Me Out. Win Missy B is asked for speed from second. On the outside, 4 at Dancer. And then it's Miss Paris. Check Me Out in front by 2. She's clear and home free. Check Me Out, a dominant winner here in the Breeders' Crown. 2-year-old filly Trot. She wins it over Win Missy B. 4 at Dancer, and Miss Paris, 154 and 4.
A throwback to a dominant performance in the Breeders' Crown there from Check Me Out back in 2011, and now in 2025, your Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly trot champion is Storybook Love. We talked about this moment for Todd Ratchford. We caught up with the Bax family earlier. I would have to think, as happy as Matt is, John's got to be quite proud.
Yeah, he will be. He's a real family-orientated guy, and he'll be ecstatic. And also a longtime owner, Al Libfield. He's been a constant in the back stable for many years, and glad to see him out there and winning this too.
And some prominent owners there. And kind of shows their faith, too, not just only in the back stable, but as well to not step in and say, hey, we want a more veteran driver to steer this horse, Greg. They allow Todd Ratchford, who has been closely connected with the back stable the last couple of years, to maintain this drive, and it paid off.
Yeah, there has to be something in the pedigree, right? You're related to Todd, Paul, and you won your first Breeders' Crown drive, and now Todd does. So what's the secret?
I don't know if there is a secret. I think it's just getting good horses, and I agree with you, Mark, about how the Baxes they stick to their drivers, and it's good that Al and Brad stick to the Bax program.
Right.
They let them do their thing and call the shots. So it works both ways.
There's a look at the prices. $11.90 is that $2 win price on Storybook Love. Don't forget, this was an elimination winner. It's not all that often you get a price like that on an elim winner. So those that really loved what they saw from Storybook Love and backed her, well, it pays off beautifully nice as Storybook Love wins the Breeders' Crown. We're hoping to get to the winner's circle for some reaction, and over the course of the evening, we'll certainly continue to talk about this win from Storybook Love. And Greg, you nailed it, so I got to give you some props. You didn't back off.
I will take it. First of four tonight. If I got shut out the rest of the way, no big deal. An 11.90 winner on Breeders' Crown night. It's always a feather in your cap. It's always something special, but not nearly as special as this night's going to be for Team Bax and Todd Ratchford. And when you won the Breeders' Crown, Paul, and now for Todd, what did it mean to your career? Did it change anything for you after that?
It absolutely did. I think you'll see a lot more trainers now have confidence in Todd going forward. You'll see some bigger stables start to use him. Now that he can show that he can produce on the big show.
Well, I should probably also throw this in here. Todd Ratchford, we play hockey on Wednesday nights. He was a machine this past Wednesday. He was feeling pretty good this week, and he was feeling really good on the track. I should have seen something there. Storybook Love wins the Breeders' Crown. We'll be right back on Primetime.
Now, Rodeo drive. Dale setting it up from third over. Looking for racing room is Rose on the inside. They turn home on 3/4 in 1:24. Looks good in Lulu, and on the outside, Mickey and Many is gigantic first over. Steamrolls to the top for Dexter Dunn. Mickey and Many drawing clear from Looks Good in Lulu. Mickey and Many, a Breeders' Crown champion over the last Martini. Then Rodeo, Drive, Deo, and Looks Good in Lulu in 1:50-2.
Nations on a big victory. How about that?
Yo, Mickey and Minnie, she's no cartoon.
Storybook Love providing a storybook moment for winning driver Todd Ratchford and winning trainer Matt Bax as they both capture their first ever Breeders' Crown and their first ever attempt in the lucrative final. Todd, I'm going to start off with you first. I know you were elated to win that elimination last week, but just talk about the emotion as you crossed the wire and just as you passed it there for your first ever Breeders' Crown.
It was absolutely insane. I mean, I'm truly lost for words. It's just a feeling that you can't even explain. It's just so mind-blowing and just so thankful for everything.
You had a chance to maybe go to the outside. You elected to sit in. Halfway down the lane when you had that clear lane up the inside, I mean, what were you thinking?
Just keep going. Please just open up a little bit more, and then it did, and she was full of trot. She raced unbelievable. Kind of put her in a tough spot, but, I mean, that's horse racing, and that's just the way it worked out.
This industry is all about opportunity, and obviously your first ever attempt at a Breeders' Crown final, but it was this guy next to you who gave you that opportunity, Matt Bax. Just talk about the relationship and just how it's progressed leading up to this moment.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I'm definitely not where I am today without them. They're a huge part of my success, and I'm just very thankful to be a part of it and have the people believe in me.
Congratulations, Todd.
Thank you very much.
We're going to bring in winning trainer Matt Bax. Matt, congratulations. And just as I mentioned to Todd, it's your first ever attempt in a Breeders' Crown final. You had a filly who put forth a sharp elimination. How are you feeling coming into tonight?
I knew the filly was feeling great, but you need a lot of luck and a great drive to win this kind of race. You have to be on point on every aspect, and she came to play today.
You just talk about this filly's progression, though, even from start number one and what you saw even before she made it to the races. I mean, did you think she was going to be this kind of filly, as her career progressed?
You never know that they're going to be this good. So she's a special filly. You always dream and hope that you could be in this position, but to actually be here is pretty amazing.
You were alongside your dad for so many years, and you watched him as he plied his trade and obviously was able to train so many top-notch horses. I mean, for you to be in this spot and pick up a signature victory, I mean, what does it mean to you, especially, given the family ties and what you've seen your dad go through as well?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Woodbine, about 24 years ago, my father's in this position with Dookie York, and he had a great partner in Al Livfeld at that same time. So I feel like it's a pretty special connection to also be on the same home soil and same owner, and of course, having Brad along is great too. So I feel very blessed.
Lastly, but quickly, obviously, Todd, one that you've given an opportunity to. You've let him travel with this filly across New York, and you gave him this opportunity here, and what was a big moment. Just talk about what you've seen from him and the growth you've seen from him.
Yeah, here we are in a big moment like this. You kind of have to have nerves of steel or ice water in your veins to come up big in these kind of moments. Lucky he gets the right horse, and you know what? He proved himself tonight, that's for sure.
Congratulations, Matt.
Thanks a lot.
Todd Ratchford, Matt Bax, Storybook Love as they get it done in their first ever Breeders' Crown.
Fantastic to hear there from Todd Ratchford and Matt Bax. It's a winning debut for both of them in the Breeders' Crown, an incredible moment, one they're going to remember for a very long time. We'll now turn our focus to the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly Pace, and it's all about number 3, Lua Deepa. And Paula, in the She's a Great Lady earlier this year, she just wowed, and she's continued to do that ever since. And some are saying maybe if she took on the boys, she would win. This is just a powerhouse filly, isn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible what she's been pulling off the last number of weeks. Pacing away from rivals with ease, and doesn't even look like she's being used. So, unless something goes drastically wrong here tonight, I don't see her losing.
Well, there's 9 others that are going to hope to knock her off, and their connections are all really excited to be in this moment. We talk about the drivers, we talk about the trainers, but we want to turn the focus now to the grooms. They're the ones that you're going to see leading these horses out. They're with them day in, day out, morning to night, and it takes a team effort to get these horses to a Breeders' Crown. So let's shine the spotlight on the unsung heroes, the caretakers.
long before the crowds arrive and the gates spring open, the workday has begun. In Barnes Across, Ontario, harness racing's unsung heroes are hard at work. They're the first to arrive and the last to leave. This is the life of a groom. Grooms are the backbone of the racing business. They care for the horses daily, brushing, feeding, training, traveling, building the trust that makes performance possible. Each horse has a dedicated groom who knows them inside and out, ensuring that they're healthy, calm, and ready to race.
I think growing up in the industry, it was always an interest of mine, and I rode horses for 13 years too, so working with and around horses has always been something that I've been interested in. And when I finished university, I knew that this was my passion.
Just the thought of working with an animal, different challenges every day, and get here about 20 after 5 in the morning and feed them, and then work as a team, kick them all outside, get their stalls done, and start driving.
While they're out jogging, we'll do their stalls. They'll come in, we'll give them a bath, and then once they're dry, we'll put them all away, we'll brush them, and yeah, set out feeds, give them lunch, and then we can go home.
Treat every horse differently. Like Bingo, she's not a big attention fan, so you just let her do her thing, and that's what she enjoys. Then there's a couple that, you know, they like to, you know, be petted and give a little more attention to. Every day and every horse is different.
I think most grooms put some pressure on themselves when their horses are racing. I have found, like with the stakes races, those always make me really nervous. You want your horses to do well, so you do put some pressure on yourself.
I try to keep it light. I don't try to get too worked up. I find it easier on myself, so everybody's different, but try not to get too worked up.
Being a groom isn't just a job, it's definitely a lifestyle. Once you're committed to this industry, it's definitely hard to get out of it, but you need to love it because it's not for the faint of heart.
The passion of it. Do it for the passion. There's no other industry that you can do what you do in this one.
They may not hold the reins or collect the trophies, but without grooms, there's no race. Ontario's harness racing industry rides on their shoulders every single day.
The big tip of the cap to the unsung heroes, as I mentioned, the grooms, the caretakers, as they do a lot of the heavy lifting and making sure these horses are in tip-top condition for a night like tonight, the Breeders' Crown. It's not always glamorous, but if you get to the winner's circle, well, you'll be in the spotlight. Let's meet the field now for race number 7. This is going to be the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly pace. Number 1, Better Be a Star. Patrick Ryder driving for trainer Chris Ryder, so it's another family connection here. Pat Ryder's making his Breeders' Crown debut, a third-place finisher in Hurlip.
The number 2 just on screen was She's a Bulldog, one of a quartet in the field for trainer Ron Burke, will be driven by Bob McClure, one of 2 from the exciting first crop of Bulldog Hanover in the field.
I could talk all night about number 3, Lua Deepa, but here is your heavy favorite. We'll talk about her after the post parade. The daughter of Sweet Lou, trying to add another victory to an incredible season. Ronnie Wren for trainer Ron Burke.
Hunting Memories, the 4, daughter of Huntsville, looking to give local trainer Jason Libby his first Breeders' Crown trophy. Louis Philibois will steer.
Number 5 is Dea. This is one of 2 fillies that took a bye into the final, third in the OSS Super Final. She is from the first crop of Bulldog Hanover. Jody Jameson for trainer Jack Darling.
Noel Daly trains the number 6 on air. It's going to be Andy McCarthy doing the driving here. She's a 2-time winner, 6 on the board finishes, and her 8 starts this year, and a little over $100,000 earned.
The number 7 is Sangria Summer. Trevor Henry is driving for trainer Kevin Ben. You want to talk about someone that racks up the miles going up and down the highway? Well, a big opportunity here for his barn. 4th in her elimination. She is a daughter of Captain Treacherous and looks for her 2nd win of the season.
The 3rd starter in the field for Team Burke will be number 8, Seaside Shuffle. It's going to be Yannick Gingras driving this daughter of Down by the Seaside. She's been a regular competitor in the Kentucky Sire Stakes program, where she's banked almost $500,000 this year.
Speaking of the Burke Brigade, number 9, I'm a Lulu. Another one for that barn. She was second in her elimination behind her stablemate Lua Deepa. Beat more than 3 lengths, though, and that's just been the story of facing Lua Deepa this year. Tim Tetrick does the driving.
And number 10 is Twin Bee Fierce, bred by local farm Twinbrook Limited of nearby Ambro, Ontario. Greg McNair and son Doug McNair team up with this post 10 starter, a daughter of Captain Treacherous.
So that's a field of 10 for the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly Pace. And let's not waste any time. Let's take you back to a week ago to take a peek at how we got to this final. We'll go back to elimination number 1, and it was headlined by Lua Deepa with Ronnie Wren in the bike. And this was kind of a unique trip. Not how you necessarily would have mapped it up here, but I guess, Paul, when Ronnie's got a horse like this, he can kind of do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he didn't seem too concerned at any time. He had to make a couple of moves early in the race. Retook, and once he got the lead on the last turn, it was game over.
She paces a final quarter in 27-3, but she was just wrapped up here. I mean, he's just grabbing into her. This is a horse that routinely comes home in sub-27. The body language here is truly remarkable.
No question about it. You can see her coming to the wire, and she's not even stressed.
So Lua Deepa took the first elimination, stopping the clock in that elim in 149-3, another sub-150 miles. She's already a world record holder at 148 flat. But now, Greg, we turn our focus to elim number 2, where there was just the one elimination. Sorry, we had the 2 horses taking the bye, so it was just that one race, top 8 moving on. But trying to turn our focus to some of the others in this race, because, yes, Lua Deepa is the superstar. Who do you look at as somebody that can give her a good challenge?
Well, it might be one of the stablemates, potentially. Seaside Shuffle, I'm a Lulu. Despite outside posts, both really accomplished fillies in their own right. They play second string, of course, to the great Lua Deepa, but between them, they've earned $750,000 this year. But Lua Deepa, she reminds me, I'm going way back here, Paul, and this name might ring a bell. Miss Easy back in 1990 at Pompano Park. She just seemed a little bit ahead of her time at that point, and she was such an impressive superstar winner in the Breeders' Crown. Lua Deepa kind of reminds me of that. And I mean, there have been great fillies in this division, but to this point, she looks like one of the very best we've seen in a long time.
No question. And Miss Easy, I think, made over $1 million as a 2-year-old. And this filly here is showing similar signs. So, to me, she's just dominant.
Well, let's turn our focus to another one of those that's trying to upend Lua Deepa. That's number 5, Dea. She took a bye into the final. We've watched her race here locally all throughout the season. 5 wins in 11 starts. She's been in the top 3 in 10 of those 11 tries. Jack Darling sending out this daughter of his superstar Bulldog Hanover, and Jamie caught up with him.
Trainer and owner Jack Darling joins us here now in front of Dea, leaving from post 5 here for our 2-year-old fillies on the pace. Now, let's kind of rewind this of the season. How has she been? How has she improved, and how has she matured?
Yeah, she's been good all year. I can't really say she's improved because she started out like a real good filly, but no, she's been consistent. She's like right to the end of the year, and I've been really happy and proud of her.
And she has an impressive resume already at 2. What does it mean to be in these races and winning these races as a homebred?
Well, yeah, the Breeders' Crown is as big as it gets. So, yeah, being a homebred and being by Bulldog Hanover, it's special to me.
And do you see any resemblance between Bulldog and her?
She's a little more high-strung than Bulldog was very laid back, but they both really loved racing, and they both have a lot of try.
Now, of course, it was first crop racing for Bulldog this season, his offspring. So have you been kind of keeping an eye on them and checking out where they've fallen all year?
Yeah, I've been watching every one that raced. I cheer for them all. It doesn't matter who's got them. I'm just a Bulldog fan.
And, of course, you got the bye coming into the final tonight. So what are some pros and cons of not racing in the elim?
For me, it was really big. I really wanted the bye because she's had enough starts. She didn't need that. And 2 weeks off is kind of perfect going in the final.
And to keep them steady all year, it's a long season for these 2-year-olds. This is the first time they're doing it. What's the best thing you can do to keep a 2-year-old from spring till fall?
Yeah, well, you try to keep them as happy as you can. In her case, and most of my horses, we turn them out every day for a couple hours. And you just, once they're ready to race, you try to be as easy on them as you can. but for the big race, I mean, you've got to train them. It's a tough year for 2-year-olds because they got to be on their toes every start.
Well, thank you for having us here, and good luck tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jamie and Jack. Dea trying to become a Breeders' Crown champion, just like her father did back in 2022 when he won the Breeders' Crown Open Pace here at Mohawk Park. But right now, the betting board, to no one's surprise, says 1-9 on number 3, Luadipa. Paul, if you put yourself in the shoes of Ronnie Wren, who's having an incredible career season at this Grand Circuit level, what are you thinking here? Is it a case of just getting away clean and then making that move to the top?
I would think so. I mean, he's not going to be looking to do anything too special here. I think he knows she's the best, and just like everybody else does. And as long as he just stays out of trouble early, and he'll find a way to get the job done.
And folks, we're talking about whether or not we might see some record miles here tonight. Well, the conditions are much cooler than they were last weekend on Friday and Saturday, but 52-2 in that 2-year-old filly trot, Greg. I could see Luadipa breaking 150 again here.
We've got the talent. I mean, the stakes record is a Ron Burke trainee. My Girl EJ 149-2 a couple of years back at Hoosier Park, and I think Luadipa has the talent to threaten that, even with the cooler temperatures.
All right, is it Luadipa's crown to claim, or does somebody else upend the superstar filly? The field of 10 in the hands of the starter. Chad Rosema has the call of the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly pace.
Field for the 7th. Top of the stretch. Here come the 2-year-old pacing fillies for the Breeders' Crown final. Freshman fillies pick up speed, and they're off. And leaving out of there sharply from post position 4 is Hunting Memories. Now down the center is Dea going forward with her. Luadipa into the early mix as well. Along the rail to the top 4 is Better Be a Star. To the outside is On Air, parked in 5th. To the inside of that one, 6th. McClure with She's a Bulldog. Then Seaside Shuffle is going to settle along the pylon 7th in front of I'm a Lulu. The last pair of Sangria Summer and trailer Twin Bee Fierce, 26-1. Quick opening panel for the 2-year-old pacing fillies. Dea leads it, but here's Luadipa and Wren Jr. rolling in the backstretch here and set to assume command. It's Luadipa on the outside, getting in front of Dea, who's now going to follow the favorite with Hunting Memories 3rd. A length and a half in front of Better Be a Star 4th. On Air got a seat 5th. She's a Bulldog 6th and brought to the outside. And that gets McCarthy out of 5th with On Air. She'll be first up, so She's a Bulldog works with cover. 3rd over Seaside Shuffle. Locked inside is Sangria Summer. I'm a Lulu starting up 4th over from the back, and Twin Bee Fierce inside trails. 54-3, the half-mile speed for Luadipa. She leads at 2 right now on Dea with less than 3/8 to go. On Air's up to 3rd. Inside 4th is Hunting Memories, and 2nd over is She's a Bulldog. Up to 5th, swinging wide. Here's Jigra with Seaside Shuffle, 121 4 3/4, and they turn for the straightaway. And Luadipa in the Breeders' Crown final opens up her advantage to 4 now on Dea, who chases. She's a Bulldog up the inside. Seaside Shuffle in the center of the track. Luadipa still well cleared late with less than a 16th to go. And Luadipa with a Breeders' Crown victory for her 5th in a row. Luadipa by 3.5 on She's a Bulldog and Seaside Shuffle in 149-1. It's a new stakes record. She equals the track and Canadian record. Luadipa on fire this year.
Nothing to it. Luadipa delivers in the Breeders' Crown. She sets a new Breeders' Crown record. She matches her own track record, 149-1 on a cool October night. It did not matter. And Paul, we mentioned Ronnie Wren would probably just let things settle and keep working to the lead. Didn't even think about going down to the rail, but she was out enough before she finally took command, but clearly was just the very best.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, he just had confidence in her all the way. Stayed out on the first turn just to be sure, made his way to the front, and it was no match for anyone in there.
And Greg, I mean, we've been watching some special horses year in and year out, but you never want to get too ahead of yourself, but Luadipa could be in one of those generational type talent conversations.
I mean, what she's done to this point in her career is right up there with probably the very best we've seen. How about Ron Burke, 1-2-3 finish here, his 4th divisional title here with 2-year-old fillies in the Breeders' Crown, and Luadipa puts an exclamation point on things with a stakes record performance.
She'll be racking up the awards at year ends as she's a Breeders' Crown champion. Lua Deepa wins it for Ronnie Wren and Ron Burke. Post-race reaction when we come back. The Breeders' Crown goes to Lua Deepa, Ronnie Wren, and Ron Burke. The Burke Brigade, they are loaded for bear coming into this weekend, and they've already got a winner. They brought over 20 horses in total to the Breeders' Crown this year at Woodbine Mohawk Park, so expecting big things. And this was one that they'd never tell you it's a sure thing, but their confidence had to be through the roof as Lua Deepa delivers 149-1. Calm, cool, and collected as she made her way back to the winner's circle. Ronnie Wren is having an incredible season here at Mohawk. He won the North America Cup earlier this year with Blueprint. Came back to race this filly in the She's a Great Lady and won. Now wins the Breeders' Crown. The only race he's lost this year was a hard closing finish last week from Malillo, who we're going to see in the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colt Pace. He might want to consider taking a permanent residency here the way things are going.
Yeah, for sure, right? And you know, throw a Little Brown Jug title into the mix this year. So kind of a breakout year for him. I mean, he's always been a guy that racked up huge win numbers, racing at tracks like Northfield and the Meadows, but now getting these Grand Circuit opportunities and getting his name more on the map. And you know that his confidence level is just going to rise after this year, and I expect we'll see him year in and year out on these big stages.
And Paul, you mentioned the fact that when Todd Ratchford won, you said that'll do a lot for his career. Last year, Ronnie Wren, who guides the very popular Lua Deepa to the victory, last year he won with Blueprint in the Breeders' Crown, and I'd have to imagine that kind of was the stamp of approval that Ron Burke could say, all right, we're going forward with you all season long on the Grand Circuit.
Absolutely. I mean, you get the confidence of Ron Burke, that powerful stable. It's going to take you a long way down the road. So kudos to him for putting the horses in the right spots, making sure that you know, the horses are taken care of during the races, and getting the job done when it needs to be.
You see the trifecta payout there, $184.10. That was a tri-sweep for the Burke Brigade, finishing 1, 2, 3. And worth noting, as you mentioned during the timeout there, Paul, that Brad Grant owning number 2, She's a Bulldog. So he's already got a win and a second to start this Breeders' Crown weekend right here in his own backyard, where he's been the leading owner year in and year out at Woodbine Mohawk Park. So we've got now 2 of our 4 Breeders' Crown events in the books. The fillies, they got the chance to shine first. The Colts are now going to to take over with the Colt Trot and the 2-year-old Colt Pace. The 2-year-old Colt Pace I'm really looking forward to, guys. We'll talk about the Trot in a second, but just wanted to get your thoughts on, because when we get to the race, everything happens pretty fast. I want to take a moment to talk about Bojangles. Paul, you associated driving who people would call the greatest standard of all time in some beach somewhere. It's too early to put him in that category, but a perfect season with wins in the Metro and the Breeders' Crown starting to give us that kind of generational talent feel.
It certainly is. I mean, you could see him getting stronger and stronger as the season went on. I started to notice around August there, you could just tell he was striding out longer, and he had that presence on the track. And there's very few horses that, really catch your eye like that. And he was definitely one of them.
And Greg, I remember we were sitting in a spot like this for the baby races, and there's always those horses that catch your eye, but it doesn't mean they're going to be superstars. They might just kind of be ready at that point in the season. But this was one right off the hop that was set to go.
Yeah, I mean, he was third the first time Doc Moore himself drove, but he came from the clouds, and he had a head-turning final quarter on that day, and I think it left people thinking this Colt might be something special, even though he hadn't won his qualifier. And he went out the next week and won by open lengths in 53, and then, it's been smooth sailing ever since. I wanted to ask Paul, I mean, he's a grandson of Some Beach Somewhere. He's himself a son of Cattle Wash. He's been, a game-changing sire this season in Ontario. Any similarities you notice between this guy and Some Beach Somewhere in terms of their stature?
Yeah, they have similar gaits, the way they reach in front. But I think most of all, it's the presence on the track. He's got that imposing presence.
Yeah.
And, strikes a little fear in other drivers and other competitors out there when they have the stride like they do. So, he's definitely got some attributes that will take him a long way.
Well, Bojangles will be in our main event, the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colt Pace. But let's rewind for a moment back to the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old filly Pace. Some post-race reaction in the winner's circle with John Rallis.
Lua Deepa gets it done here in thrilling fashion, in a dominant fashion here as she captures the Breeders' Crown 149-1, capturing a stakes track and Canadian record. I'm here alongside winning trainer, owner, and breeder Ron Burke. Ron, you had a bunch of rookies that you were excited about when they were getting set to make their career debuts. Where did this homebird of yours rank as she was gearing up for start number 1?
The truth is, she was just in the middle of the pack till the first qualifier, and we were she showed a hint of it. And then every start after that, she just kept getting better and better. And then it was when she came up here that we were like, wow, she's special. And since then, she's just been on a tear.
And obviously, this is, obviously you got a chance to train the dam as well. And this is the second foal out of that dam, the first one being Looks Good and Lulu. I mean, you see any similarities to the dam?
It's funny. Looks Good and Lulu reminds me more of the Grand Dam. This filly reminds me more of the dam. They're much more similar. The funny steering, just the nicest horses to be around. They're truly just the quietest, nicest, kindest fillies. So, yeah, they remind me a lot of each other. That was one of my favorite horses. She was a world champion at 2. So she's a world champion, and now's had 2 world champions.
You had a filly that you got a chance to train for a couple of years who also captured a Breeders' Crown success for a couple of years. My girl, EJ, now, after the 2-year-old campaign that she had, you consider her staking her against the boys. You've got another filly here that's got a lot of gears and a lot of speed, a lot of talent as well. Obviously a lot can happen over the next several months. Is this a filly that you and the ownership group are considering maybe trying against the boys as a 3-year-old?
Yeah, pretty much. If Ian Moore tells me where he's not going, maybe I'll race, her against the other boys. But I'm not looking to race her against Bojangles.
Well, we appreciate your time, Ronnie, and congratulations, and best of luck the rest of the weekend as well.
Thank you.
All right, there's Lua Deepa, Ron Burke, Ronnie Wren as they capture a Breeders' Crown here on Canadian soil.
All right, you heard it right there from Ron Burke. This is quite the special filly in Lua Deepa, but he continues to offer up some high praise for Bojangles, as we'll see his horses go up against that undefeated Doc Moore trainee in just a little bit. Time to talk about the 2-year-old Colt Trot. There's a look at the field of 10 that will compete. Worth noting that number 1 Apex did not have to race in the Breeders' Crown elimination, as earlier this season at Hoosier Park in Indiana, he won the Peter Houghton. It was a win-in-your-in event for the Breeders' Crown. He got an automatic spot, so they tuned up with a qualifier, and I have to wonder, Paul, is there any sort of advantage that he didn't have to race in the elim?
I don't know. I was a little surprised they didn't race him rather than qualify, but I mean, when he did show up to the qualifier, he was pretty impressive looking, and maybe that was by design.
So Apex will be one of the main contenders in the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colt Trot. We'll take a deeper dive into that group of 10 when we come back. Night 1 of the Breeders' Crown rolls on Primetime.
Hanover's jammed in at the rail, and it's Wallner in front, and Wallner has just clicked through the three-quarter time in 1:26, a 29-second third-quarter breather, and Wallner and Tim Tetrick turn for home and lead the way. It's Wallner on top with a 2-length lead. Moonshiner Hanover on the inside, racing in second. Jake is there, Sorty is kicking on the outside, but Wallner is drawing clear. Wallner is under a hand drive. He's opened it up now to a 4-length lead coming down to the line. Moonshiner Hanover and Sorty on the outside. Wallner wins the Breeders' Crown from Moonshiner Hanover. Sorty in a locked-in What the Hill in 1:53.
Continuing our trip down memory lane and a past look at Breeders' Crown champions, that was a peek at Wallner. Let's talk about some speed marks in the Breeders' Crown. When you talk about the fastest ever on the pace, you're talking about Bulldog Hanover right here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. And when you talk about the trot, it was King of the North, 1:50.3, also here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. Both of those happened the last time the race was here in 2022. And I noticed this season, Paul, that the track record book has kind of been rewritten here at Mohawk, where it kind of felt for a little while that they were pushing some marks but not really surpassing them. Now this season, we've even seen a trotter on multiple occasions break 150. I'd have to think you never thought you'd really see that at one point in this game.
No, that's for sure. I mean, you know, but like everything's come so far, equipment, track maintenance, everything comes into play here. So I'm not surprised that they're going faster miles in these days.
And the 2-year-olds certainly know how to carry their speed. Let's take a look back at the eliminations for the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colt Trot. That's our next race on the docket. And we go back to the first elimination, where a horse by the name of Spencer Hanover, who's trained by Marcus Melander, has appeared to really turn the corner since adding the trotting hobbles. I'd have to think for the Melander barn, they hate to do it, coming from Sweden, but they have thrown them on this guy, and in 3 starts, he's got a second and now 2 wins, and he was certainly roaring home, 26-3 as he comes from sitting in 4th. He was sitting on cover there, turning off into the stretch, and just kicks on by. And some horses, Paul, I guess they just need those helpers.
They do. It's like a security blanket for them. You know, they feel more confidence, especially if they're going into the turn, or they might be just touching a boot or something, and it just saves them that, and they're able to get through it. So, they're a good piece of equipment that become necessary for a lot of trainers.
He had never won until putting on the trotting hobbles, and now he has gone 2 for 3. The second elimination, Greg, here goes to Diabolic Hill for trainer Annie Stobie.
Yeah, and she's done a really nice job with this goal to started out gangbusters, looked like he could be the next big thing, then kind of leveled off in mid-season, now getting really good again. Good 4th in the Mohawk Million, a little bit of time off, qualified, razor sharp in that elimination win.
Ends up stopping the clock in 1:53.1. Todd McCarthy, the usual pilot as of late for this son of Muscle Hill, and secures the victory in the second Breeders' Crown elimination. Finishing in second there was Nick Naxon, as that one was a few lengths off the leader, and then through the wire third, that was going to be Land the Plane. So that was a look back at our 2 eliminations for the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colt Trot, and now we take a peek at the horses as they're getting set to exit the paddock. And your current 3-5 favorite is the horse that didn't need to compete in the elimination, that being Apex. He won the Mohawk Million, and that's a race that the Melander barn, Greg, they just absolutely love.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's trying to take the exact same path as stablemate Maryland did last year in winning the Mohawk Million and following up with a Breeders' Crown victory for Team Melander. And Apex, he's incredibly talented. Looks like the speed and stamina that his sire Wallner had has been passed on to him. And he's 6 for 8 this year. He's had few blemishes, well over $1 million on the card. So to cap things off with the Breeders' Crown Trophy here would be, I think, solidifying year-end honors for him, no question, and would make him the early season Hambletonian favorite for 2026.
And again, it would be a horse from the Melander barn that would be a favorite heading towards the Hambletonian, as they still look for that first win. They're never going to stop trying, that's for sure. I think we've talked about it kind of day in, day out, show in, show out, I guess you could say, about that fact. They haven't won that race. And was there a race, Paul, for you that kind of the weight on you, one that you really wanted to win, and it was just seemed like you couldn't get it?
Yeah, it was the Maple Leaf Trot for me. Never did get it, and it it was a prestigious race here in Canada, and it was kind of a dream of mine that I could win it someday, but doesn't look like it's going to happen. But anyway,
the career still went pretty well.
yeah, I got over it.
Yeah, I was going to say enough trips to the winner's circle, some other pretty big wins, but yeah, there's those special races, those signature races that everybody wants to win, and it's just the case of it's not going to happen for everybody, that's for sure. As we get a peek at the trotters leaving the paddock, and we'll meet the field in just a moment. Apex is going to kick things off, and he did qualify last week in 154-1, as we mentioned. Last Friday morning here at Mohawk Park, there were several Breeders' Crown contenders that qualified, including Alista Hanover, the stablemate at Diabolic Hill, and she was just absolutely incredible. We'll see her tomorrow night. Here's the field for the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colt Trot. Apex is the number 1. Dexter Dunn for Marcus Melander. Jeff Snyder, who's had a lot of memorable wins in the game, shares ownership with SRF Stable, and Steve Stewart, 6 for 8, the Mohawk Million winner, trying to get another Grade 1 win here in Campbellville.
The stablemate number 2, Spencer Hanover, stepping out onto the track momentarily, and there he is, Jason Bartlett doing the driving. He was one of the elimination winners from last week. This son of Chapter 7 really looks like he's turned a corner recently with the addition of trotting hobbles, and he was thoroughly dominant in that elimination. Looked like he had plenty left in the tank, and he's got a good post to work with tonight.
3 is Diabolic Hill. Todd McCarthy for Annie Stobie. 4 wins in 8 tries. Got back to the winner's circle in that Breeders' Crown elimination, which was a lifetime best, 153-1. 4th in the Mohawk Million. Very familiar with the grounds.
3rd, Marcus Melander trainee in the field, Nick's Naked number 4, owned by Courant Incorporated of Florida. Yannick Gingras driving this guy. 3-time winner, closing in on $200,000 in seasonal earnings.
Land the Plains number 5, Tactical Landing Son for Team Jameson. Jody and Carl Jameson, 1 for 6 on the season, 5 times in the top 3, was 3rd in his Olymp.
Another son of former Breeders' Crown winner Wallner is number 6, Kingman. Doug McNair driving for the trainer Per Engblom. 2-time winner, $150,000 banked.
Mario Bayarjan recently went over $100 million in career earnings, and he gets another opportunity at a Breeders' Crown for trainer Mark Etzel. The 7 is LP Bay, the OSS Grassroots champion, was 4th in his Olymp to make the final.
The highest priced yearling in the field, another son of Wallner, number 8, Cambridge Hanover, sold for more than $1 million as a yearling in Harrisburg. Andrew Harris co-owns and trains, co-owns with Bill Pollock and Bruce Araman. Looking for his first win of the season. What a time to do it. It would be tonight.
Number 9, I'm Kronos for trainer-driver Oka Svanstead, was 3rd in his Breeders' Crown Olymp. 6 starts to this point, 4 times in the top 3, just 1 trip to the winner's circle, and we'll see if he can pull an upset from near the far outside.
And a bit of a long shot, but getting some attention is Mr. Big Spender, talented son of Captain Corey. He's won 6 of his 11 this year, more than $250,000 earned. Norm Parker does the training for his Pennsylvania ownership connections, and Mike Wilder will get the drive.
There's the field for the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colton Gelding Trot. A peek at number 5, Land the Plane for Team Jameson, and Jamie was standing by with Jody just a little while ago.
Jody Jameson drives us now. Just before the 8th race, you have your 2-year-old trotter here, Land the Plane, and your dad, Carl, trains him. So how exciting is it to connect with him once again at the Breeders' Crown?
Well, Jamie, there's nothing like it. I mean, there's nothing like it to be in the Breeders' Crown, let alone, they say it all comes down to the Breeders' Crown. I'm not sure that's the case for Land the Plane in his season, but he's just such a nice horse, and Dad's done a hell of a job getting him this far. He's always been a kind of a nice horse, but had a few bumps in the road, as lots of trotters and young horses do early on in the season, but it's all coming together here one big night, so hopefully tonight's the night.
And speaking of big nights and the Breeders' Crown, you've connected with your dad before. 2007 with Santana Blue Chip. What would it be like to be in the winner's circle again with him?
No, like I said, there's nothing like it. I mean, I own a piece of this horse. I owned a piece of Santana Blue Chip at the time. But it's just the whole atmosphere. I mean, you guys can feel it just walking around. We can feel it just watching the people that come, the people that show up. I mean, the hotels around here are full. The grandstand's full. It's just an awesome night to be here. Tomorrow's going to be just as good, but, I mean, it starts all right here with Friday night.
Let's rewind last week. There was only 6 in the Olymp. 1 made a break. Does it change your driving when you have to finish top 5 and you kind of get in automatically?
Well, for sure. It's a $5,000 starting fee to get in for starters. That's just to start, just to get into the race. And then when I was counting the horses, as one made a break behind the gate and then caught back, so that I couldn't minus 1 there. Another horse run leaving, so then now we're down to 5. So I know I'm in the final, but I just want to make sure my horse is trotting. And it turned out he raced so great. I was able to come first up, and a horse come off my back. I passed everybody except for the leader, and that one passed me to be finished third. So I was super pumped about the horse. I was real cautious with him. And tonight, the sky's the limit. All the best horses are sort of on the inside, and if they leave out and I can sit fourth or fifth or something like that, I think we got a great chance to get money, and you never know what happens. You have to be in it to win them. So here we are, and we're in it.
Well, we hope it works out for you, and good luck tonight.
Thanks a lot, James.
All right, always good to hear from Jody Jamieson as they try to spring an upset here with Land the Plane, as it's the family connection, which seems to be a reoccurring theme on a night like tonight. Right now, looking at the betting board, 2-5 on number 1, Apex. Greg, did you expect he'd be this much of a heavy favorite?
Yeah, I did. Frankly, he's just looked so rock solid. He's got obviously the familiarity with racing and winning here, and he's been well traveled. He's held his form well, and that qualifier looked resounding. So, not shocked at all. You've got connections who won this race last year, and have won almost all the major trotting events. But hey, they're 2-year-olds, and there's a lot of other talent in the field. So if he's just not quite the apex we've seen, there'll be somebody that'll be ready to step up and dethrone him.
Paul, you competed in a lot of big races over the course of your career. I just wanted to ask you about a driver you raced against a ton over the last few decades, and that's Mario Bayarjan. Still at it, recently over $100 million in career earnings. It's been a little while since he's been in a Breeders' Crown. I have to think getting an opportunity like this, he's got to be pretty excited. Even though he's going to be a bit of a big long shot here, just has to be great to be back in a race like this.
Yeah, this is great for Mario. I mean, he's the ultimate competitor, always has been. He can make speed out of a horse like no one else. He's getting a little older now, but I'm sure he's still very much excited about going postward here.
He's going to drive the Mark Etzel-trained LP Bay, who won the OSS Grassroots, and they opted to then take a crack at the Breeders' Crown. Now, this horse had dabbled at the Gold and Champlain level, but it kind of tells you just how tough it is here in Ontario, Paul, that grassrooters can make it into the Breeders' Crown final.
It is amazing, and we've talked about some of the OSS horses that have raced already tonight, like Bingo Night and She's a Bulldog and Dea, and they've been competitive, and we're going to see Bojangles later, so this is no different here for Mark Etzel and Mario with LP Bay.
Any horses that you've got your eye on here, Greg, if someone's going to be able to knock off Apex?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of Sons of Muscle Hill, of course, he was the great champion that won this event back in 2008, and he's become a sire of champions, and he's got 2 starters here this year. Diabolic Hill, talk about the late season sort of turnaround. Not that he'd really gone backwards, but he just leveled off a little bit, didn't continue to progress as he had shown earlier in the season. So I liked his win in the elimination. I thought he won with authority and nice and strong through the wire. And nothing wrong with Nick Snacken either. Came from out of it last time out to just miss. He's been ultra consistent. And I think post 4 with Yannick in the driver's seat is going to give him a lot of different options to work with here. I might quickly throw back to Paul. I mean, you in Breeders' Crown, in your Breeders' Crown career, were known as a guy that could get long shots through as well. What kind of approach do you take to try and knock off a big favorite like Apex in a race like this?
Well, things have to line up. I mean, you're going to see the first 1/8 of a mile is going to be so important, and if they can put a horse like Apex with the rail here in a bad position into the first turn, it could turn the tables on the whole race. So it should be an interesting race here going forward.
Well, post position is crucial. Take a peek at number 10, Mr. Big Spender. It's a tough spot, but don't sleep on that one as well. Set to go for the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colt Trot. Up to Chad with the call.
Two-year-old Colt and Gelding Trotters lined up behind the gate for their Breeders' Crown final. Here they come. And there they go. They're off and trotting. And there's Kingman along with Mr. Big Spender. They both leave alertly from their respective post. Into the top 3 from the inside, done with Apex. He's followed to the opening turn by Spencer Hanover, one of the 2 elimination winners. That one's going to be followed by the other elim winner, Diabolic Hill. Parked to the outside in 6th, the Gingras now sliding along the pylons with Nix Nacken ahead of Land the Plane. Then it's I'm Kronos. LP Bay is next to last. Cambridge Hanover the early trailer. Everybody's got a seat through a 28-4 opening quarter. Mr. Big Spender and Mike Wilder lead the way by nearly 2, heading up to 3/8 on Kingman in 2nd. Apex trotting in 3rd. Then Spencer Hanover 4th. Diabolic Hill sits 5th in front of Nix Nacken 6th. To the inside, scooting up is Jameson with Land the Plane to pick up some ground. I'm Kronos follows him. LP Bay to the outside, then Cambridge Hanover. It's Mr. Big Spender still on top with Kingman as closest rival. There now with the move. First up out of 3rd. Here's Dunn with Apex. 57-4 the half-mile speed. And Apex is now brought to the outside and begins to accelerate on the turn to 5/8 with Spencer Hanover riding his cover. To the inside up to 5th now. Land the Plane. 3rd over is Diabolic Hill. Then Nix Nacken to the outside. I'm Kronos, LP Bay, and Cambridge Hanover heading to 3/4 next. Mr. Big Spender from the 10 hole is now getting match strides by Apex on the outside. They're to 3/4 in 1:25. 27-1 pickup there, and Apex on the outside as the sprint is on. Pokes a nose in front. Mr. Big Spender fighting back. Off cover, Spencer Hanover is all out here for Bartlett, trying to close, and Diabolic Hill even further out. Inside, Mr. Big Spender, Apex, and Spencer Hanover continues to close on the outside, and Spencer Hanover gets up for Jason Bartlett to capture the Breeders' Crown in 1:53-2.
A fantastic finish in the Breeders' Crown. 2-year-old Colton Gelding Trot, and it goes to number 2, Spencer Hanover at 4-1. Jason Bartlett's going to get his first Breeders' Crown victory here with this Marcus Melander trainee. We talked about this horse having really taken a big step forward since adding the trotting hobbles, but this was a battle as they were certainly dueling on home here, Paul. And that 10-hole starter, Mr. Big Spender, got away real well. Not a lot of early speed, got to control things and hung in there tough.
Yeah, I thought he was a winner halfway down the lane. 28-4, 57-4, pretty moderate fractions for this bunch. And, it was a horse race right to the end. It was a good race.
A good stretch battle here. It's going to be Spencer Hanover winning it. Diabolic Hill was right there second. Apex and Mr. Big Spender in the mix. A host of others in there, including Land the Plane, and Nix Nacken was trying to come on through. A fantastic finish there, Greg, with about 6 of them all within 2 lengths. What were you thinking coming off the final turn?
Yeah, turning for home, I'm like, who is going to win this? And you're right, I was with Paul. I thought the post 10 starter for a split second in time in the home stretch might be able to fend them off and hold on, but that third quarter just a little bit too taxing, and especially with a couple of sharp colts sitting off the speed and ready to pounce in Spencer Hanover and runner-up Diabolic Hill.
Well, the trend of first Breeders' Crown wins continues. There's our second tonight in terms of drivers. Jason Bartlett and Spencer Hanover capture the Breeders' Crown. 2-year-old Colt Trot. Post-race reaction when we return.
Thanks, guys. Winning driver Jason Bartlett, as he captures his first ever Breeders' Crown victory. It has to be pretty special to do it here tonight.
Yeah, got to thank Marcus for, putting me on this horse in New York and, letting me drive him up here. And horse is getting really good at the right time. And, in life, I guess timing, he's getting right at the right time. So it's great.
You mapped out a perfect second over trip last week and a perfect second over trip again this week. Just got the job done.
Yeah, I was talking to Dexter going to the quarter pole. I'm like, don't move. So, yeah, it worked out. Really worked out.
Jason, enjoy this one and congrats.
Thank you.
All right, Jason Bartlett, obviously feeling a lot of emotions as he wins his first Breeders' Crown. He's got a few good opportunities over the course of this weekend. It's really been a big-time season for him. He's always racked up the wins and the earnings, racing primarily at Yonkers, but he's really sort of dived into the Grand Circuit over the last couple of years and getting opportunities for barns like this. And when you win races like this, as we talked about all night, those opportunities will continue. And the one thing that stood out to me so far tonight, Paul, is we've got 3 Breeders' Crown winners, Todd Ratchford, Ronnie Wren, Jason Bartlett. Kind of feels like there's been a little bit of a shift in terms of those Grand Circuit drivers.
I agree with you 100%. And all 3 drives were pretty nice drives. They put their horses where they should have been and capitalized. So, we're seeing maybe a little bit of change in the guard here.
Absolutely. And last year, you got to remember, it was the Dexter Dunn show in the Breeders' Crown. Greg, he dominated. He won 6 of the 12. I mean, he had all kinds of power, and he still got a ton of power here tonight, including tomorrow, where I'd have to think for him, anything but multiple Breeders' Crown wins would probably be a disappointment.
Yeah, I would think coming in, right? But it's opportunity, as you said, and Jason Bartlett alluded to the fact that right horse at the right time, but then you have to give them the right trip too. So it all has to come together if you're going to be a Breeders' Crown champion. And kudos to those guys. And I agree, maybe a little bit of a passing of the torch potentially.
Well, we're still awaiting the prices here from that Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colton Gelding Trot. 4-1 was the price on the 2 Spencer Hanover. Also 4-1 on Diabolic Hill, and then 17-1 on Mr. Big Spender. So this hasn't necessarily been as chalky as we could have anticipated going into tonight. Storybook Love paying $11 in that first Breeders' Crown. I think early on tomorrow night, looking ahead, Greg, you see the likes of Twin Bee Joe Fresh that really stand out, Mickey and Minnie, but this is why they do the racing on the track.
Yeah, there have been big upsets before. We heard from Paul earlier, engineered what was at the time the biggest upset in Crown history when Bayes Fella beat the great Top Notcher. So it can happen. We just saw it there, and we've got another one to go through tonight, and then you're right, there will be a lot of heavy favorites. I mean, one thing the Breeders' Crown does is attract the superstars, the very best in the sport, and they get that branding for a reason.
Well, I want to ask you this question, Paul. It's a pretty cool night here. How much does that factor into these horses when you start to get those cooler temperatures?
Well, it probably factors in a little bit, but I think most of what really factors in is the long season.
Right.
I mean, you're looking at a lot of trucking for some of these horses. They've been on the East Coast, they've been to Kentucky, they've been up here, and we're into October, like you say, and it's taxing.
Well, we just got news. There's an inquiry on the winner, Spencer Hanover. A bit of a late inquiry that comes in, but obviously with the fact that we hadn't received the payouts yet and this race hadn't gone official, tells you that the judges were obviously looking at something, and I would have to think now for the connections, they're going to have their heart rate certainly increase and be kind of sweating a bit here. I'm not exactly sure what they're looking at yet. I don't think they made that announcement, but this can't be a good feeling, Paul.
No, it never is, and he'll have a lump in his throat for a little bit until this gets finalized, but I didn't see anything during the race that triggered my eye, but it'll be interesting to see what the judges have seen.
All right, well, we await and see what happened, and while we await that, we are going to take a timeout. We'll step aside and allow the judges to go to work and see if we can get this race official. So stick around as we await the results of the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colt Trot.
Grooms leader. Back into third is Capricornus. The rail fourth, Synergy. Real Cool Sam on the outside from in fifth. Not tonight. That one's just not himself. 3/4 in 1:24, and they come into the stretch. And it's Amigo Volo taking off by 5. Back in second now, that is third shift. Capricornus has had a ground-saving trip thus far from in third. Synergy is onto the scene late outside fourth. They're into the final eighth of the mile, and it's Amigo Volo through taxing panels trying to hold on for this final eighth of the mile. And Amigo Volo is clear by 6. There's no touching Amigo Volo. Amigo Volo steamrolls over this field to win the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colt Trot final.
A flashback to 2019, Amigo Volo winning. He's a 2-time crown champ. He'll race in his 5th crown event tomorrow night. Updating you on the inquiry situation here in the 2-year-old Colt Trot final. They were looking at number 2, Spencer Hanover, the winner. Potential interference on number 3, Diabolic Hill. We saw a head-on look, Paul, and I think we're kind of in agreement, and it looks like the inquiry sign has come down that there wasn't enough there to overturn it.
No, I don't think so either. I think the judges made the right call here. They had to look at it, though, just to be sure.
With that kind of money on the line, you get it as some anxious moments there for the connections as we take a look at that head-on once again. And I don't think there's really anything clear here standing out. They're racing, and Diabolic Hill has an opportunity to get by. So there's a look at the head-on shot, and Spencer Hanover fends off Diabolic Hill to win. Here are the payouts: $10.40, $6.70, $6.10 for the 2 Spencer Hanover. Diabolic Hill, $5 to place and show, and $11.40 on the 10 Mr. Big Spender, who that was a horse I was kind of fond of here after seeing the way he raced in Lexington 2 starts back. Thought the 10 hole was tough, but if you sprinkled him in there and you found the top 2, you get rewarded very nicely. So the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colt Trot is official. Spencer Hanover takes it. Jason Bartlett's got his first Breeders' Crown. Back on the desk here, Mark McKelvey, Paul McDonnell, Greg Blanchard, and guys, now we turn our focus to the Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colton Gelding Pace. 12 championships over the course of the weekend. You hate to say that you're looking forward to one over the rest, but I think here tonight for me, getting another opportunity, Greg, to see Bojangles, this is going to be one heck of a horse race.
Yeah, I mean, he's a special colt. And the good thing is, though, as dominant as he's been, he's never been beaten, and setting, Canadian records and the like. It's not a slam dunk. There are very accomplished colts here, all trying to knock him off of his perch, including Brandon Boulevard, who was a little bit faster in his elimination win. So this shapes up as a dandy, and I agree. This is the one I've really been looking forward to here tonight.
And we're going to talk about the trainer of Bojangles, Doc Moore, in a moment, but let's talk about Bob McClure. I think one thing about Bob that stands out to me, Paul, is the fact that he never seems to get too worked up and always seems to have lots of confidence.
No, he's definitely got that demeanor about him that he goes onto the race bike with confidence, and I'm sure he knows what he's got in between the shafts here tonight with Bojangles. He's up against a pretty powerful stable entry. Or they're not an entry, but there's 3 horses from one stable here with the Burke Brigade. And, he'll have to just sort that out early and let things play out. And I think Bob will be cool and do his usual thing.
Well, just a quick thought on the post position. Post 6, if you win your Breeders' Crown a limb, you draw for somewhere 1 to 6. If you were picking, though, you'd have to think he probably would have wanted to be pretty close to the inside and get inside of those Burke horses.
Agreed. I probably would have been maybe 2 or 3, and just he'd have a better advantage on the Burke horses. So we'll just see how this plays out. 6 is one of the winningest positions here at Woodbine Mohawk Park, so it's not the worst possible spot.
All right, so Bojangles is set for what will be his 12th start of the season. He's won the first 11. Trainer Dr. Ian Moore's had a lot of real talented horses over the years, but he's enjoying this ride with Bojangles. And speaking of enjoying the ride, well, he likes to take to the sky, as we found out just last week.
In the $1 Million Metro, Bojangles digging in, frantic Hanover, Bojangles, he is absolute perfection. What a thriller it was.
Well, it was a very busy week. I trained Prince Hal Hanover on Tuesday morning, and then I flew back here so that I could train Bojangles on Thursday. I jogged him Wednesday and trained him on Thursday, then flew back down to the jug on Thursday morning. So this red button you hold and talk through your mic, and any air traffic controller will answer you, all right?
Julie Kilo Waterloo Tower Squawk Identity altitude request.
Yeah, where are you? This might happen, right?
Trainer Go Patel Tower Squawk.
On a personal standpoint, what has his season been compared to other outstanding horses you've had?
Well, it's just been fantastic, and I don't think he has a whole lot to prove, but it's just been a wonderful horse to be around.
Did you know you had something special when you were training down?
Not really, without qualifying time, really. He was in the top set, did well, but didn't really give me the impression like, let's say, well, Shadow Play, when he was a baby, I knew he was, well, maybe not him either. They all seem to take a moment's time when you think, wow, this is coming something, right? So, and management of a young horse is extremely important. If you mismanage them as babies, they may not make it back as a 3-year-old and or an age horse. I've had that happen before, and it's hard to know what's right and what's wrong. So you just do the best you can and hope for the best, I guess, in the future.
How important is it to not over-race them or under-race them, especially because this season seems so long from baby races to the Breeders' Crown?
Yeah, it does, and people lose sight of the fact that any of these 2-year-olds now have been earnest on 1 year. They came from London Sale or whatever, they're broken in mid-October. Here it is, mid-October, it's a year. If the Breeders' Crown was not 25 minutes down the road this year, if it was in New Jersey or wherever, I wouldn't do it. Okay, follow set number 3, I'll put that one toward those single chains. Left that one now for 3-2 for those better.
Well, our Jamie McDonald is quite brave. No, Doc Moore is a skilled pilot there. It's a passion of his, as you saw. He loves to take to the skies, and I guess it's pretty handy when you can just hop in your own plane and get yourself from point A to point B. And with the amount of horses that he races, and as he mentioned, racing, whether it's in Ohio, Kentucky, here in Ontario, he can be anywhere in the blink of an eye, or at least in the mere several hours up in the sky. So that was a lot of fun there. Greg, could we have got you up in that plane?
Yeah, I don't know. Word was that you were going to go up there, but they didn't have enough gas, and it would have been.
Well, we were trying to distribute the weight,
gas,
right? As you can see,
been
I would probably weigh it all down. So I decided to let Jamie and our man behind the scenes, Curtis, go up there. I wouldn't have been as skilled with the camera, so I would have kind of been useless. And Jamie had the questions. Paul, you've traveled track to track and been on some of those smaller planes. Did you ever get nervous?
Not really. You know,
calm, cool, and collected here.
These guys know what they're doing when they go up there, and of course, Doc Moore, he's a perfectionist, and he's going to make sure everything's right in order before he even decides to take off. So you'd have to be pretty confident flying with old Doc Moore.
I would think so. As you saw there, the color of the plane matching his colors. He got that blue, and he's hoping to see that blue in the winner's circle here with Bojangles. And it's been a long season for Bojangles, but this is going to be a 12th start. As we look at some of the facts and figures for this 2-year-old Colt Pace division, I wanted to ask you, Paul, do you have a number in mind that's kind of that perfect number for these top 2-year-olds in the amount of starts they would have in that first season?
Well, it all depends on the horse, but I think most trainers aim for around 10. And, he's going into number 12 here. Probably a little more than Doc would like, but the horse has done everything with ease. A couple of the races, he didn't even look like he was extended at all. So I'm sure that he wouldn't have raced him if he didn't think he was in top shape and ready to rock. So here we are tonight in start 12.
You see it at the top of the board there that 149 is the stakes record set by Sweet Lou. That happened at Woodbine Racetrack. A lot of memorable Breeders' Crown races at Woodbine, Greg, but that was an eye-catching mile when it happened. I mean, we're going back a decade plus now, and that was Dave Pallone for Ron Burke.
Yeah, and again, the type of field this year that could threaten and perhaps lower that record. We saw, too, the winningest trainer in the history of this division, Joe Holloway, his most recent coming with a son of Sweet Lou, Amo, back in 2022.
The horses starting to make their way out of the paddock for this Breeders' Crown 2-year-old Colton Gelding Pace. It's going to be our 4th and final Breeders' Crown tonight. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow evening, we've got the 8 finals for the 3-year-olds and the open divisions. And a lot of these same faces will be back tomorrow, but certainly would love to get to the winner's circle here on night number 1. It'll be the final opportunity. 4 horses from the Ron Burke barn here. If you're Bob McClure, you mentioned it a bit there, Paul. Are you at all a little concerned?
I don't, like I said, the Burke horses are going to give him a bit of a tussle, I would say, but Bob's cool. I mean, he knows, he's been through this before. He's been in all the major races and won quite a few of them, so I suspect that he'll be ready for whatever they throw at him.
All right, here's the call to the post. The horse is stepping onto the track. Time for the post parade for this $959,000 Canadian Breeders' Crown final. 2-year-old Colton Gelding Pace. Number 1, Show Me Your Ace, Dave Miller for trainer Chris Ryder. 2 starts back down in Kentucky in a Sire Stakes event. This guy turned heads on the 5/8 oval with a 150-4 win, and that was enough for trainer Chris Ryder to say, we're going to try the Breeders' Crown. He was runner-up to Bojangles last week in his Elim. He'll start from the rail.
Brandon Boulevard, a $500,000 yearling purchase, getting better as the season wears on, and he's won 3 in a row coming into tonight, including that ultra-impressive 148-4 fastest elimination victory. Andrew Harris is the co-owner and trainer of the 7-time winner in 9 this year, and it's going to be Dexter Dunn doing the piloting.
3 is Malillo. Ron Burke trains. Ronnie Wren drives. Here's a horse that was just storming on home, and he had to do some stick handling through the lane. First he went outside of a rival, then he went down to the rail. Caught a lot of people's eye. Right now he's 8-1, so single digits on the betting board.
Another Ron Burke pupil, number 4, Al Poppy, son of Poppy Rob Hanover. 4-time winner this year, $338,000 banked, and has the services of Yannick Gingras.
The 5 is Frantic Hanover. He was the runner-up to Bojangles in the Metro Pace. They squared off again last week in the Breeders' Crown Elim. He ultimately finished 4th, so looking for a bit of a rebound. Tim Tetrick for Ron Burke.
The son of a superstar, Stallion Cattle Wash, number 6, Bojangles. Perfect in 11 this year. More than $1.2 million on his card. And we just heard from Dr. Ian Moore. The ownership group, several folks from different states in the U.S. share ownership on this guy, and it's going to be Bob McClure in the driver's seat trying to cap off that perfect season.
Trainer Mike Vanderkamp has a long history in the Breeders' Crown, and he sends out number 7, Windor. From the first crop of Bulldog Hanover, Doug McNair drives this Ontario sired, who has a stakes victory in the Champlain this year. He's made over $200,000. Big opportunity here in the Breeders' Crown.
P.A. Luke, number 8, one of the more lightly raced in the field. The Poppy Rob Hanover Colt, just 5 starts, 1 win, little under $30,000 banked. Has Captain Canada, James McDonald, in the bike.
9 is going to be You Brute. Talk about regally bred. Warwi You Butte is the dam of this Tall Dark Stranger colt. So you've got world champions throughout this family. Another one for trainer Ron Burke. Todd McCarthy drives.
And another talented colt saddled with the outside post is Fragment to round out the field. 8 wins this season in 13 starts, more than $700,000 earned. And Jason Bartlett looking to come right back with a second Breeders' Crown winner.
All right, now you've met those that are going to compete in this Breeders' Crown contest. And in last week's elimination, number 2, Brandon Boulevard, set a Canadian record when he won in 148-4. But it's not too often that a horse coming back off a Canadian record effort isn't really the talk of the race. That's the case for Brandon Boulevard, but his trainer, Andrew Harris, is very confident, and Jamie caught up with him.
Trainer Andrew Harris joins us now, leaving from post 2 in race 9 with Brandon Boulevard. This horse has been almost perfect this year. And just walk us through his season in general.
You know, from about March on, I thought he was a pretty special colt. And then we got lucky. We got to stay, because he's Kentucky Sire Stakes, and that program's just so great. I got to stay there for the whole summer, and he kind of got to learn to race there and do it a couple different ways. He's never had to go one trip. He's got to go from off the pace, on the front, first up, and he seems like he thrives on anything that we do with him because he's got a big set of lungs. So he's coming into the race in great shape, and he seems sharp, and I think he's one of the fresher horses in the race other than Bojangles, who also hasn't had to travel.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, doesn't it, when they're not traveling hours at a time to go race?
Yeah, it's a lot of wear and tear on these guys when they're on the trailer for 8-9 hours, shipping to places and stuff like that, and then they need a day to recover from standing on the trailer all day, moving around, trying to stabilize themselves. So yeah, it's a lot on them, and we don't give them enough credit for these horses travel as much as they do.
And last week, phenomenal race, 148-4, amazing mile. And how do you think fractions will set up this race?
You know, as much as I'd like to say that I think that they'll just go wicked fractions, I think they'll respect Bo too much. I think everyone's going to be in the boat that, if they go race them too hard, then they're not going to get a piece of it. And every driver's in there to get as much of it as they can. So I don't see anybody sitting there trying to rough them up too much. I really don't. So I think fractions will be a little bit slower than people anticipate.
And just on a personal note, you're having a career season on both sides of the border, Canada, U.S., which is phenomenal. How do you keep your momentum going?
Just keep entering the box and hoping these guys are sharp. I mean, it's the horses and the team behind me. I got great guys behind me. My grooms and caretakers and riders are fantastic, and they do a good job keeping the horses sharp. So it's all on them. They all do it for me. I just sit here and make sure I enter the horses.
And what would it be like for you to step foot in that winner's circle for the Breeders' Crown?
I'd be the first one, so it would be incredible. I'd probably cry like a baby.
Well, let's hope we see some waterworks tonight. Good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, great stuff there with Jamie and Andrew Harris talking kind of candidly about the fact that last week his horse had some incredible fractions to come into there and setting that Canadian record of 148.4, but he's not expecting a big-time hot tempo, as he just expects Bojangles might get some big-time respect. Is that kind of how you could see this going here, Paul?
I'm not sure. I think there's going to be a horse race into the first turn here tonight. There's going to be, it's the last start of the year. A lot of colts will be shut down after this, and they're going to do some racing here.
Greg, Bojangles, he's certainly just been a treat to watch. No matter what happens here, it's not going to take away from what's been an incredible season, but a win in a spot like this, I mean, it just gets people so excited to skip ahead to next summer and what could be another magical campaign.
Yeah, I mean, we go back to Sun Beach somewhere, and I remember that year, there was a lot of pressure, I think, in the Metro, and you wanted to end that season undefeated. And then it left you with months of anticipation, and it just built as we looked forward to his 3-year-old campaign, and I can't imagine it would be any different here for Bojangles, maybe even more so with a 12-for-12 record. But I don't know. I think, Andrew Harris, I think that was a little bit of reverse psychology perhaps, because I'm with you guys. I just think there's going to be some battling and tussling here, and it's going to be a real strategic race, and Bojangles, I think he'll probably get his stiffest test of the season here tonight, and it comes in start number 12. So it's a test of talent, but it's a test of stamina and endurance at this point in the year.
It's funny that you mentioned maybe that reverse psychology, because Ron Burke the other night at the post-position draw and Breeders' Crown dinner said that it's Bojangles and 9 other horses. Well, he's got 4 of the 9 other horses, and they're all very talented, but a lot of respect is being offered up to Bojangles. Right now, he's 3-5 on the betting board. The second choice is the number 2, Brandon Boulevard, at 5-2, and Malillo, the number 3, is currently that third choice at 7-1. A horse that's got a pretty good resume, that's for sure. He's got 3 wins on the season, a couple of Grand Circuit scores, but he was just flying on the end of the mile. And what I like is when you break down each quarter, he went 27 in all 4 quarters and was still closing in, just kind of running out of daylight. If you're Ronnie Wren, I would have to think, Paul, that he's just hoping, unlike some are anticipating, but we certainly are, those fractions set up for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I noticed that horse also last week. He was caught in the backfield and did some serious pacing down to the wire. So he's going to be a contender in here regardless.
All right, well, the wings of the starting gate are open. Bojangles is trying to go a perfect 12-for-12 in his 2-year-old season. Let's see what happens. This should be one great tilt. It's the main event on Primetime. Up to Chad Rosema with the call.
This puts his perfect record on the line against 9 other talented freshmen. Brandon Boulevard, who established the new track record last week, is at 5-2, 8-1. The guys talked about troubled trip, but clearly live in the stretch. It's post time for race number 9. Breeders' Crown final for the 2-year-old. Pacing Colts and Geldings are at the top of the stretch. Here they come to a start. And there they go. And they're off in the Breeders' Crown, and You Brute tries leaving out of there from the outside. Another Burke pupil into the mix early with Al Poppy. And then Brandon Boulevard, and there's Bojangles on the outside, third. To the inside is Show Me Your Ace. Parked out in 5th. After initially leaving out of there is You Brute. Looks like he's going to backpedal now. So picking up a position to the inside is Malillo. Frantic Hanover follows him. Then Windor. Back to P.A. Luke and Fragment. Continuing to battle up front here as Dunn chases along Brandon Boulevard. And Brandon Boulevard, 27-second opening quarter, but he now clears to the lead. On the outside, he's set to deal with Bo Jangles. And Bo Jangles and Bob McClure, with the button pushed, are trying to go forward of Brandon Boulevard, who on the inside stretches him out a bit. Al Poppy in behind this pair third. It's 2 more lengths to Show Me Your Ace fourth. Then Melillo in fifth, followed by Frantic Hanover Windor up the inside to save ground. Hugh Brute to the outside, then P.A. Luke and Fragment. They are halfway home in 54. Bojangles now leads it. A length and a half into this turn on Brandon Boulevard and an uncovered Show Me Your Ace who continues to make gains. Right on his back, a perfect trip being mapped out here by Ren Jr. with Melillo. He's up to fourth. Inside locked up fifth, Al Poppy. Third over to Frantic Hanover, then Windor. U-Brute, back to P.A. Luke and Fragment. 1:21 and 4 3/4. And as they turn for the stretch, it's the undefeated Bojangles leading the way by 2. In behind him is Brandon Boulevard looking for a way out. Show Me Your Ace on the outside. Melillo trying to get a rally going in the center of the track with Al Poppy and Windor up the inside. McClure's calling on Bojangles. Bojangles still leading. Al Poppy closing at him. But Bojangles, the freshman juggernaut, wraps up his rookie campaign. A perfect 12 for 12 in 1:48 and 3. It's a new stakes, track, and Canadian record. Bojangles, does he ever get tired?
A perfect season complete for Bojangles, winning the Breeders' Crown to go 12 for 12, and he sets a new stakes track Canadian record, 148 and 3. They just haven't been able to touch him. An incredible performance to cap off an incredible season. Paul, he was out a little ways there, stretched out going to the half in 54, but this guy, he's tough.
I was worried 121 and a piece. I thought maybe he was just stressed a little bit too much, but I mean, he dug in like a true champion down the stretch, and you know, he had that measured win late, and just a great horse.
Greg, we mentioned a great horse and starting to get himself into that conversation with some pretty rare company, and a win like that here tonight. I don't think we're exaggerating when we say this could be the generational horse.
I think you're right. He is a superstar. That's the one word that you would use to describe. I mean, he's 12 for 12, Mark. That's going to put him over $1.5 million Canadian this year. One of the greatest freshman seasons in the history of harness racing, capped off here.
He never left Woodbine Mohawk Park, but something tells me he'll also win a Dan Patch Award. He's going to get a ton of hardware coming his way, and he's got another trophy to add to the mantle, to his connections, because Bojangles is a Breeders' Crown champion. We'll be right back on Primetime.
148-3, Bojangles, a stakes track and Canadian record as he caps off a perfect rookie campaign to be 12 for 12 in the Breeders' Crown. Bobby, there was a lot of talk about how the draw shook out. Take us through your approach off the car.
It's just wanted to keep him out of trouble, and I thought we had the best post possible, and like I said, I just didn't want to get him in any trouble, not get in a hurry. I knew they were going to race him hard, and they did, but I also didn't think there was much they could throw at him that he couldn't handle.
You got stretched out 27 flat in that second quarter. You had to call on this guy quite a bit, though, Bobby. He looked for a second he was going to get picked off, but this colt loves to fight. Talk us through your thoughts in the stretch drive.
He was waiting for more. Honestly, he was flickering his ears up down the lane. He had more left for sure. He was waiting for more. He just loves to race this guy.
Congratulations, Bob.
Thank you.
Bob McClure's on cloud nine. So are all the connections of Bojangles. He said it. He was just waiting for more. 148-3, a Canadian record as Bojangles delivers, paying $290, the heavy favorite, but he had to earn it, to say the least. Al Poppy finished second. Malillo was third, and Brandon Boulevard hung in there for fourth. A big night for the Burke Brigade as they're going to finish second and third here, but they would have loved to upend Bojangles. Not the case as he gets the job done here in the Breeders' Crown. And, well, as they continue to celebrate in the winner's circle, Bob McClure, I think that's going to now be his fourth Breeders' Crown victory of his career. And the last time the Breeders' Crown was here at Woodbine Mohawk Park, he won with Sylvia Hanover. She ultimately went on to become a Canadian Horse of the Year. And, Paul, I would think... I know the voting isn't for another several weeks, but Bojangles has to be the Horse of the Year here in Canada.
Yeah, I think he's a slam dunk myself. 12 for 12 for a 2-year-old. Incredible stuff. I mean, he was as strong tonight at the wire as he was all season long. And, I mean, that's a testament to Doc Moore and his crew and how Bob's driven him. So he's a great horse. He just certainly is.
Just awesome to watch as they are in the winner's circle, Bob McClure and Doc Moore. Didn't ever feel there was a lot of stress or tense moments for these guys over the course of the season, Greg, but I would think now they're going to sleep pretty well tonight.
Yeah, I mean, outwardly, they certainly come across as though, they're cool and confident, but there has to be a lot of pressure. I mean, the chance to go undefeated, this is something that just so incredible to have on your resume. He's undoubtedly now, I think, going to be Canada's Horse of the Year. I was going to ask you, Paul, now what's the offseason like for Bob McClure as you wait several months and look forward to next year? What's that time like?
Yeah, it's a long wait. It's a long winter, and, there's always going to be someone giving him a call and wanting a quote. There's always going to be him checking in on the horse just to see how he is. There's going to be a lot of things happen in the next 6-7 months, so it'll be fun for harness racing in 2026, no doubt.
Well, this was a fun night, Paul. Thanks so much for joining us on the desk. We really loved having you here. An incredible night one to the Breeders' Crown is in the books as we saw some dynamite electric performances, all capped off by a Canadian record, Breeders' Crown record effort, 148-3 mile from Bojangles. A perfect season complete. What a great first night of the Breeders' Crown. More to come tomorrow. For Greg Blanchard, Paul McDonnell, I'm Mark McKelvey. We'll see you back here tomorrow in Primetime.